Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvenavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll chant Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, verses 1 to 5.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhihi Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi Dhanam Damascha Yajñascha Swadhyayastapa Arjavam Ahimsa Satyamakroodaha Tyaga Shantirapayshunam Daya Bhuteshvalo Luktvam Madhavam Hrirachapalam Teja Kshamadhriti Shaucham Adroho Nati Manita Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim Abhijatasya Bharata Dambho Darpobhimanascha Krodha Parushyamivacha Ajnanam Chabhijatasya Partha Sampadamasurim Daivi Sampadvimokshaya Nibandhaya Surimata Mashucha Sampadam Daivim Abhijatosi Pandava.
In this chapter, we are now studying the qualities of a divine person. He enumerates in total 26 qualities of a divine person, out of which we have seen 13. Half of it we have seen. In the first shloka, he covers 9. And then we have seen about 4 qualities in the second shloka. The qualities that we have covered in the second shloka are harmlessness, which is ahimsa, non-violence, and then satyam, truth, akrodaha, absence of anger, and tyaga, renunciation. Now this tyaga, later on he is going to discuss this in the 18th chapter when Arjuna asks the difference between tyaga and sannyasa. Tyaga means renunciation of the fruit of action. Sannyas is the state of mind in which you have risen above the world and you are focusing only on the self. So here the word tyaga, renunciation, is not renunciation of action, it is renunciation in action, renouncing the fruit of action while doing the action. That is tyaga. It is neither indulgence nor unmindful abstinence. Unmindful abstinence leads to suppression and increase of desire, increase of vasanas, spiritual downfall. And unmindful indulgence, again, not a mindful contact, but unmindful indulgence, also increases desires and results in spiritual downfall. So, tyaga means renouncing that trishnam, that craving, by understanding that the real enjoyment is not in the object. it is in the truth, the divinity, the self within. So, therefore, for practical reasons, one may contact and be in the world, yet the mind has no undue, exaggerated value for the worldly stuff. This is due to the knowledge of the higher and the understanding of the lower. So, therefore, renunciation is actually nothing but knowledge. It is not giving up, it is taking up something higher. All this we discussed. The next quality he talks about is Shanti, peace. This is another, quality which increases in a being as the desires reduce. See, what really disturbs our peace is not the external conditions. Like, I think this quotation is attributed to Mahatma Gandhiji, I'm not sure. It says, any fool can find Shanti in Shanti. You need to be a wise person to find Shanti in Ashanti. Even in an environment where there is a lot of chaos, one can be peaceful if one's mind is turned introvert. If one's desires are under the control of the strong intellect that is fortified by the knowledge. So, here the quality Shanti, peace, that arises from the decrease of desires, eliminating desires, controlling desires. So, whenever we get disturbed, we generally have the habit of blaming the environment, blaming the surrounding people around. But the truth is, it's our mind that disturbs. That's why John Milton says, mind in its own place makes a hell out of heaven, heaven out of hell. So, even in a very, very, difficult circumstance, one may find heaven there. One may find hell even in a very peaceful, enjoyable condition. So, it is to do with your state of mind. So, when a person has got Tyaga, which he discussed before, obviously the person will be in peace. When you keep asserting your ego in every aspect of life, that brings disturbance. In everything, even if you do some work, you'll say, I'm the only one who's doing it, nobody else is doing. I don't know why people don't want to work. You are working, it's okay. But the mind which keeps asserting the ego, keeps on showing here and there, that brings the disturbance. So that is where you lose the peace. In everything you ask, what is in it for me? If I'm doing something, how much will I get? The moment I comes, peace goes. Please understand this. In any situation, I and its demand starts expressing, establishing itself. It starts eating away the peace. So that's why I keep many times repeating that particular story of a king who was ruling his kingdom very well, confident, executing his work, duty, following dharma, everything. Subjects were very happy. But he was disturbed. He lost his peace. He was stressful. He, wanted to find peace. He said, listen, I can't rule with this disturbance anymore. I need to find peace. So somebody told him, you go to Himalayas, you'll find this particular Swami there. Surrender to him, he'll teach you how to become peaceful. He goes there, he finds him, he surrenders to him and says, I'm the king of this land, but I've lost my peace, so I've come to learn from you how to be peaceful. He said, it'll take some time if I teach you, maybe a few months. Who's going to rule till then? So he said, make somebody else the king, then the country will go on. You can learn the art of becoming peaceful. So he said, okay. And the really peaceful person, as far as I know, is you, sir. So I will make you the king, he said. And he made the Swami the king. Swami has now become the king. So the erstwhile king asked, can you please teach me now how to be peaceful? He said, listen, now that I've become king, I want to know how to rule this kingdom. I don't know how to rule the kingdom. I don't have any experience. So I have to appoint somebody as a CEO to go and rule on behalf of me. And the best person who has all the experience is you. So I'll appoint you as a CEO, you go and rule. So now he is the king. So the erstwhile king has to listen to the new king, whatever he says. So he goes back and rules. Now he's ruling as a CEO, not as a king. So he's having trusteeship, not ownership. I am the king, I am doing, that I is gone. So therefore, he's suddenly finding peace, doing the same thing. Everything same, nothing has changed. But he's now peaceful. Why? He's not asserting that ego. You understand? So everywhere when I comes, the desire, everything comes from that I. It eats up the peace. So that's what he says. Tyaga. When you realize the divinity at play, you understand that everything is actually nothing but the divinity in various forms. You won't ignorantly separate yourself from the total and then assert the ego. So that's what brings peace. That knowledge which results in renunciation of the ego, sacrifice of the ego, instantly brings peace. So therefore he says, this is one of the most important quality of a divine person. In any circumstance, whatever may be the situation, he maintains the inner peace. And the next one is apaishunam, absence of calumny. Calumny is making statements to destroy others' reputation, to bring down the other person. By putting down the other person, you feel better. That quality is never there in a divine person. So he says, apaishunam, absence of calumny. Slandering, there is no question of slandering in a divine person. Like we have seen, divine person has oneness, bhakti to divinity. That fire of knowledge has burnt the ego. That separateness is dissolving, diminishing, effaced. In such a person, how can there be otherness to put down somebody else and feel elated about it? No. So, divine person has no time, first of all. He has only time to think about the self and what he has to do to get rid of the vasanas within and get closer and closer to the self. There is no other chintana, no other thought. In fact, this criticism, slandering and all that, it saps our energy. that much energy that we waste in criticizing others, if it could be saved, could be used for our spiritual progress, even for our material well-being. So why focus on the negative? There is so much good in the best of us. American humorist, a gentleman has said this. There is so much good in the worst of us. There is so much bad in the best of us. It ill behoves us to talk about the rest of us. Why sit and waste time in slandering and all that? See what we can learn from that person. And then, continue our spiritual journey. See, whatever may be the shortcomings of the other person, it is their problem. They will have to address it. They will have to face the karma. So why unnecessarily get into it? Tying up with somebody else's gunas. If at all, I need to see what gunas, how much tamas, how much rajas I have, which I can put in effort to reduce, rather than sitting and criticizing, others. So therefore, a divine person has no time for all this nonsense. So apaishunam means absence of calumny. No, there's only oneness. So there is no envy, no jealousy, no nothing. If at all he's going to say, he's going to have, later on he's going to talk about that also. Forgiveness. There's no question of, therefore, putting down somebody, making a wrong statement to defame them. Nothing of that sort in a divine person. He, in fact, is identifying with the divinity within. As a result, will be identifying with the divinity in every being. So, therefore, he will not have calumny, he will only have compassion. That's what he says next. Daya bhuteshu. Daya bhuteshu means compassion for beings. He will only have compassion. Compassion should not be misunderstood as a weak pity. You have a tendency to please others and you're not able to say no. So you give in to their demands to please them. That's not compassion. You have a kind heart. You identify with them. You have a kind heart. It's kindness. You sympathize with them. But you understand that everybody has to face life according to their karma. You understand? So it's the sympathy of the mind with which you feel with the other person. But you also have knowledge. So it's sympathy underlined by knowledge. If it is sympathy underlined by ego, it will be pity, which is a weakness. Here it is sympathy underlined by knowledge. It's a strength. So, in fact, in Vedanta Treatise book, 6th chapter, Swamiji, it's called the strength of emotions. In that he talks about this, kindness. A lot of people in the name of kindness have weak pity. Especially in the so-called spiritual field, people have weak pity. Weak pity it's a weakness in us. Compassion is your natural quality. So it is the feeling of the mind supported by the knowledge of the intellect. That is called real compassion. To be kind with anybody and everybody. You don't go and tell them, listen, you are suffering because of your karma. You better suffer. No. You don't say that. But you understand. You sympathize with them. You will do what is best that is possible from your side to help them. But, you will never have weak pity. So that's called compassion. And like you see, Lord Buddha had that compassion. That compassion is not when you perceive somebody is suffering, suddenly you feel sorry and then you do something. No. But compassion will be your natural quality which will persist always. So, therefore, it is a strength, not a weakness, and its inherent quality, not a superficial, temporary, passing expression. So, it's not giving into your weak emotion. You have kindness towards every being, not just with human beings, with every being. So, please understand this. When the intellect supports, it becomes strength. Otherwise, it's a weakness. Oh, poor fellow is suffering. He's suffering because obviously some karma. But that doesn't mean, like I said, you go and point it to them and then say, you suffer therefore. No, you do feel for them. You see how you can be compassionate. See, this is natural. You cannot leave them saying you suffer. Not possible. That's why I said it's not just with human beings, it is with any being. He already said harmlessness. It will come only when you have real compassion. It will percolate in every field. It's not just with action at one particular time. Generally, how you live throughout your life, that compassion will percolate, in everything. See, this is not something that you can force upon yourself. As a quality, you can try to emulate and practice. But this is something that is a byproduct of one's evolution. You can try and practice it, but it's really a thing that happens due to transformation. That is compassion. So it is kindness underlined by intellectual conviction, knowledge. It's called daya. Daya bhuteshu, all beings. Now, there are so many people who are unfortunate. Animals, other species, even amongst human beings, everyone, something or the other, we lack. So that compassion, seeing from that person's point of view, you be kind to them. So that's in fact, these are the qualities that really marks the evolution of a person in spiritual field. Compassion, forgiveness, dhanam, non-violence. These are all the qualities. Service, seva, etc. So, daya bhuteshu. The next one is uncovetousness. A divine person doesn't covet others' wealth. He is quite happy with what he's got. He's contented with what he has. He has no covetousness towards others' properties. Uncovetousness. Aloluptvam. No. In fact, a divine person's vision is much broader. He understands that actually everything that is there in this universe belongs to Bhagavan. That is the truth. The truth is, It belongs to Bhagavan. Isa vasyam idam sarvam yadkincha jagatyam jagat. Tena tyaktena bunjita magrita kasya suddhanam is the first mantra in Isavasya Upanishad. It says, the whole universe is pervaded by the Lord. Isavasyam. The whole universe is actually the Nama Rupa. It's another word of world. That consciousness in various names and forms is what this universe is all about. You understand? Nama Rupa. So, in everything, in every aspect, it is pervaded by the Lord, the divinity, the consciousness. Isa vasyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Tena tyaktena bunjita magrita kasya suddhanam. Says, why covet another's wealth? Oh, everybody, whether it is in my pocket or it's in your pocket, it is in Ishwara's pocket. It is Ishwara's. So it's stupidity to covet, The symbolism of Balakrishna lying on a leaf and sucking his own toe is this, not knowing that you are actually the divinity. You are trying to run after the material stuff, Prakriti. That is what is symbolized by the toe of Balakrishna being sucked by him. You're trying to run after that. Once you know, why would you covet? Whether it is in your pocket or somebody else's pocket, it's yours. It's like in your own kurta, there's some money in one pocket on the left, in the other pocket on the right, there is some more money. It's all yours. So, if you know, why would you say, hey, this pocket has more, that pocket has less? Nothing like that. There's no covetousness whatsoever in the case of a spiritual person, You enjoy. When others enjoy, you enjoy. When others suffer, you identify with them. You feel for them. You be kind to them. You do what best you can, knowing well that they are going through that because of their karma. So that is compassion. This is the other. There's no coveting. In fact, you are happy for them. You understand? You are happy for others' blessings. There's no question of, first of all, there's no question of longing for wealth. And definitely there is no question of longing for others' wealth. So, aloluptvam, uncovetousness. That itself will bring peace, necessarily. See what we have got, how we can use that to serve the world and use that to evolve. See, whatever has been trusted upon and given to us is to be utilized, progressing towards the divinity within. But we don't understand it that way. We are thinking we need to increase it. We need to take it from other person's pocket and bring more here. See, the more and more you neglect dealing with the ego, and you go on pandering to its demands, it will ask for more. There is no end to it. And once you start dealing with the ego and start taking care of it in the right sense of the term, not comforting it, but doing the right thing and bringing in the knowledge and shrinking it and dissolving it, you will see whatever you have got is more than enough. There won't be any want in you. There will be no want whatsoever. You understand? There are stories after stories in our Puranas and history everywhere, where an evolved soul, even when Bhagavan comes in front, there's a story about a sage who was living with his wife very peacefully. he was living a very, very, what do you call, frugal life, simple, frugal life, hand to mouth sort of living. And no complaints, nothing. He was very happy. A great devotee. So, Goddess Parvati told Shiva, Lord Shiva, he is our devotee, we should do something for him. Lord Shiva said, he doesn't want anything. No, we have to do something, we have to do. So they appeared in front of him. And Ma Parvati's insistence, they appeared. He was very happy, he prostrated to them and said, thank you very much for giving me darshan, and all that. So, Ma Parvati said, ask him what he wants. Lord Shiva asked her, do you want anything? What can we give? I don't want anything. Everything I have more than enough. Thank you very much. No, ask something, they exist. I don't want anything. I don't know what to ask also. I'm happy, I have enough. But they kept on insisting. So he said, okay, see, listen. At the time when they came, he was stitching his stone cloth, shirt or something. So he said, just bless me in such a way that the thread always follows the needle. That's all I want. He didn't want to ask, he just like that he said something. So, paripurnatva. As you get closer and closer to the divinity, you start experiencing that paripurnatvam from it. You're grateful for what you've got. You will be thinking in terms of what I can give, what I can do, not hoarding. Not possible. It is not possible at all. So, here is the question of coveting and all that. Other fellows' wealth and this and that. No question of coveting wealth. See, this is the real wealth. The real wealth is to see that I am the divinity and filled with the truth and filled with reality. Why would I want to fill myself with the fake currency? You understand? Now, if you are an adult, having grown up playing Monopoly and all the games, you know that is only fake. All the money that is being traded in that game of Monopoly is all fake. Children still play, they are so involved. I have so much, you got very little. Are you going to focus on that wealth? You know that it is not real wealth. We are talking about Daiva Sampath. Sampath means wealth, isn't it? So the real Sampath is the divinity. Real Sampath is divinity. He is contented in that, basking in the truth. So there is no question of lack, trying to fill it with some other things. There is no question of anything unreal that can compensate for the real. So therefore, the divine person, extremely contented and happy, no question of coveting whatsoever. That's what he says. The real wealth is the divinity. What is the real wealth? Or if you have Narayana residing in you all the time, be rest assured, Shri resides there. Ma Lakshmi resides there, massaging his feet. If you go to Ranganatha Swami temple in Sri Rangam and all, Ma Lakshmi is there massaging the feet. So, Lakshmi, goddess of wealth, is only found where God is there. Lord Narayana is there. And where is Narayana? He is in every being. So when you do service to every being, Narayana resides there, Lakshmi will reside there. There is no question of coveting. Not possible. A divine person has no coveting. In fact, he has enjoyment. If somebody is happy, he is happy. If somebody is suffering, he has compassion for them. He is a divine person. you know. So there is no question of covetousness whatsoever in any which way. It is called true transformation. Uncovetousness. Aloluktva. Then the next one is Mardava. Gentle. Gentle should not be taken as a weakness again, that they will lack firmness. Shakespeare says, be soft but firm. How would you handle yourself? Will you be harsh to yourself? When you identify with other beings, seeing the self in all beings, how can you be harsh to other beings? You will be gentle. Mardam in every transaction, See, the opposite of gentleness, what can you say? The crudeness comes when you have repressed your emotions. When you have repressed your desires. Due to that comes, You try to pander to the ego and try to give it as much comfort as possible. Running in the world, how much ever you give to the ego, it wants more. It wants more. So you feel very depressed, dissatisfied. You suppress those emotions. And that comes out as harshness, as crude behavior. To others. When you identify with the divinity within and you start seeing the same self manifested as this universe, you cannot be harsh to any being. It's not possible. You will only be gentle. There's no question of being harsh to any being. That's the next quality. He says, Mardam. So, we, rather than transforming the emotions, we suppress them in the name of spirituality. This is the problem. A lot of people in the name of spirituality are going through suppressions, repressions, rather than transformation. You understand? The gentleness comes when you transform the surface emotions. You go deep. When your emotions become deep. See, when I say transform means, doesn't mean you become emotionless. Your emotion starts getting refined more. That's what it means. You become much more refined person. So that gentleness will be seen in every aspect. That's what he's saying. Gentle in all transactions with every being. Because of the calmness within. Not a forced suppression. It's a calmness with which you are dealing. So therefore, you'll be gentle in your transaction, in all your transactions. If there is too much of, what do you call, intellectual arrogance or attachment at the mind level, emotional level, and lacking sense control, but practicing the so-called spirituality forcefully and denying the senses, then the crudeness, the harshness comes. If you are not denying the senses, you are practicing sense control in the true sense of the term, and You are not attached at the emotional level, and you do understand that you have some amount of knowledge gained from the Shastras and Guru, maybe, but you will not have arrogance as a result. You understand that what I know is very little compared to what I don't know. And there are many things others know which I don't know. So you maintain that, humility, balance. That's what he's talking about next. So there is no question of being harsh, being crude. You will be gentle in your approach. Then the next quality he talks about is 3 means modesty. It's not false modesty. No, it's being humble. See, false modesty is I'm nothing. You're invited to give a talk. You go there, you're given time for, especially when this Rotary Club and all invite you for a talk. It is usually for 20 minutes. Give you the time, 20 minutes, 1 hour, whatever. I don't know whether I'm qualified to talk, but I am grateful for giving me this opportunity to talk. I am humbled by, Are Babre, in this itself, 5 minutes chale gaya. The whole total thing is 20 minutes. 5 minutes you have not even come to the topic. You understand? So, it's not false modesty. Somebody asked who's doing the class on Wednesday evenings, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16. I have to say I am doing. You said, hi, egoistic fellow. What do you mean by I am doing? Yeah, I am doing, I am only doing. So it's as a matter of fact, when a statement is made, there's no arrogance there. So he's just making a statement as a matter of fact. So being modest, not showing off. When he goes, after this we are going to talk about, Gita is going to talk about the demoniac fellow. Demoniac fellow is all opposite of this. Pretentiousness and all that. So he is very modest, humble. See, sometimes you meet people who are authority in certain subjects, and without knowing, we keep talking many things. They will be sitting, not telling us that they are probably discussing a book which they only wrote. You understand? We may not even know. Humility is the sign of jnanam. Viveka, vairagya, vidya, vinaya. They always go together. So if you really have knowledge, you will have humility. You will not try to show off, So in every aspect, when it comes to finances and everything, you live within your means. Just not showing off. Especially the demoniac fellow is opposite. Showing off more than what he is. Borrowing and all that. There's no question of posting yourself higher than what you are. Not purposely lowering and through that wanting to be known. Then that is also ego. That is false modesty. I'm nothing. I'm useless. You don't have to go to that extent also. There is no dependence on other person's evaluation of oneself. When you have evaluated yourself, you know your positives, you know your negatives. You understand? There is no dependence on other people's evaluation. You have clear self-assessment. If somebody is praising you to skies, you know that this fellow doesn't know fully about me. Similarly, when somebody says you are useless and all that, then also you know this fellow doesn't know fully about me. So when you have assessed your strengths and weaknesses, when you have assessed yourself, when you have self-assessment, you don't fall for anybody else's opinion, evaluation. You live your life as per your self-assessment and continuing in the process of self-purification till you reach the divinity. And the last quality that he discusses in this verse is achapalam, absence of fickleness. See, mind is fickle, intellect is steady, one-pointed. It is the mind that is fickle all the time. That's why we say monkey mind. Never stays steady. So, absence of fickleness means what? With the power of intellect, the knowledge, the mind is single-pointedly flowing towards the divinity, the self within. That's called absence of fickleness. This one or that one. To be or not to be. Nothing like that. Steadiness, single-pointedly identifying with the divinity within. It's called absence of fickleness. You see, Swami Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gives an interesting example for this. When you pour oil from one container to another, how the oil goes in one strand from one container to another. Like that, the mind of a divine person goes with zero fickleness towards the divinity within. Understand? And single-pointedly pursues the path of evolution rather than succumbing to the temptations. That is the quality of a divine person. So there is no fickle. You try to tempt him, he's not going to fall for it. Hanumanji is a sign of victory. Why? Because Hanumanji has conquered his mind, single-pointedly dwelled upon Lord Ram. Nothing else. Somebody presented a mala to him. He put it to his ears. He didn't say Ram. He threw it. He said, "You forget it. I don't need it." There is no question of falling for it. What is the purpose? Even when he was crossing the ocean to go from this side to that side to meet Ma Sita, so many things came and tempted him. No fickleness. A free offer is coming. I think I deserve it. So let me take it. It's not going to say, it's not going to help me to get there. Why I did it? No fickleness. No settling for anything else other than the highest goal for which you are committed. So that mind is not, in a state of moving from this to that. It is steady. That's what is the most important quality of a divine person. All the time thinking about the Lord. Never ever falling for any temptations. Lacking that. So mind losing its quality. Guided by the intellect. You understand? In the Ramayana, Hanumanji, when he meets Ma Sita much later, first he meets Lord Ram, his mind is fixated. And then when he meets Ma Sita, it is said in Kambaramayan, Yen Kulattai Yanakku Tandal. Apparently, Lord Hanumanji says this. Yen Kulattai Yanakku Tandal. Means she gave back my family trait to me. Means what? What is the trait of a monkey? Fickle, isn't it? Astira chanchala. Go to the zoo, the biggest cage is of the monkey. Because it cannot stay in one place, jumping here and there. Even if it is in one place, it will be scratching. Astira and chanchala, never at rest. That is the mind. And that is why we compare mind to monkey. And then Hanumanji, his mind was fixated, unlike monkey, on Lord Ram. But when he saw Sita, now apparently his mind was operating again. Going, is it Ram? Sita. Rama? Sita. Rama? Sita. So he says, Yen kulattai enakku tandal. She gave back my family trait again. The character of Sita is being appreciated there. It's so great it was that Lord Hanumanji said, now should I shift my focus from Lord Ram to Sita, or should it be on Lord Ram? That fickleness, temporarily in that story, in the Ramayana it says, to emphasize on the character of Sita. So, that is the mind, to be or not to be. All the time we are fickle-minded, not steady. The intellect is not strong. It's not able to keep the mind on the divinity. Something or the other in the world comes, we get excited, we get disturbed. Again, this, that, this and that, this and that. There is no two things. There is only one. If, the choice is already made, even if it means that I have to go through suffering, let it be striving towards the self within. So such a person, there is no question of distracting that. His mind is not fickle. It's a very important quality. Divine person. In the 9th chapter we saw, Anyas chintayanto mam ejana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktana yoga kshemam vahamyah. Ananya chinta. Chinta means thought. Anya chinta means other thought. Ananya chinta means no other thought. See, in Karma Yoga, in Bhakti Yoga, in Jnana Yoga, is where a Bhakta, whether you are as a Bhakta doing karma, whether you are as a Bhakta channelizing your emotions in Bhakti, or as a Bhakta you are channelizing your thoughts towards the divinity in the using the intellect. Whatever it is, the identification is with the divinity. Single pointedly. That's why when he talked about Karma Yoga earlier, in the 3rd chapter, in the 2nd chapter and 3rd chapter, 2nd chapter briefly talks about Karma Yoga. The 3rd chapter he talks, the whole chapter is called Karma Yoga. So in the 2nd chapter he says, when he shifts to talking about Karma Yoga, he says, in this, your thoughts are resolute. In the other, when you just do karma, not as yoga, then the thoughts are irresolute. It is given to desires. It goes in all directions, lacking direction, dimension. Whereas in Karma Yoga, it is all channelized towards the self-purification, which is a prerequisite to attain self-enlightenment, realization. So therefore, in all the yogas, whether it is Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, as a Bhakta, whichever you are following, your intellect is guiding. A lot of people think in Bhakti, there is no intellect. In Bhakti also there is intellect. You understand? In fact, in all there is the intellect guiding you towards the higher. Using the body, dedicating it for realization, self-realization, Karma Yoga. Using your actions. Using your emotions for enlightenment, guided by the buddhi, is called Bhakti Yoga. using your thoughts, discrimination to attain self-realization guided by the buddhi is called jnana yoga. So in all this, the mind is guided by the buddhi. It is resolute, not fickle. So, very important quality of a divine person. So, let's conclude here and we'll start seeing verse number 3 next week. Let's conclude the class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.